Hello, everyone. Good morning. Can you hear me? My name is Ricardo Morales. I'm the Academic Services Manager for Cambridge University Press. Here with me is, well, not here with me because we are in different places, is Federico Gonzalez. He's one of our academic consultants. He belongs into the academic consultants team for Cambridge University Press Mexico. We are really happy to have you all here. It is a great opportunity for us to get to know in a better way what you are doing in other places. It is our main priority in Cambridge University Press to help teachers in these times to face a different reality regarding the way education is taking place now. And I think this is a crucial moment for the way we will be able to expand. And this is a relevant time for everybody to get different skills. And I think that's the beauty of teaching, having the possibility of learning different skills all the time. I'm sorry if there is background noise. I'm placed in my office at home. Luckily for me, I live in a place where we still have birds, so enjoy the birds, the hummingbirds, and everything. And well, we are about to start. A couple of announcements before we begin. If all your microphones are in mute, that is because we would like to have clearer communication with you. It sounds like a paradox, but the idea here is that for any question you have regarding or related to the topic that we will discuss in this session, which is how to use the Cambridge LMS and how to use some of the tools. Uh, Feel free to ask questions through the chat box. Federico will be taking note of these questions at some point. If it's pertinent and relevant to what we're doing, he will interrupt me and we will try to answer the questions. Uh, Anyways, we will have an open space for questions almost at the end of it. So if we are not able to answer your question right on the spot, don't worry. We will try to give some time to answer any relevant questions you have. Federico?
Ricardo, good morning, everyone. I see a few messages of people that cannot hear anything. Everything is working properly, so I'm sure it has to do something with your audio settings. So please check on your audio settings because it's a few people, but uh, the session is going on well.
Okay, thank you, Federico. Can you please type the same message there in the chat box?
Yes,
It is
yes, ma'am.
likely that people that are having problems to listen to hear, well, didn't catch your message. Uh, so please write it down. Thank you. Okay, another announcement is you have that possibility of using video or not. I would ask you to turn off the video. That will help you have a better bandwidth, and your internet would be in a much better place to follow the session thoroughly. As I mentioned before, this would be a recorded session, so later on, either our colleagues from Cambridge University Press in different regions would be able to share it with you. I have I have a question here for you before we begin. Please type in the chat box. Please type in the country you are connected from, where you are connected from. We would like to keep track on who is attending from different parts of the world, and that would be something really rewarding to see. Colombia, Mexico. Okay, very good. Colombia, digital. Excellent. Okay. Wow. Okay. I know that some people from Mexico, Tepoztlan. I'm in Tepoztlan too. Okay, very good. Okay, greetings from Mexico. Toluca, lots of Mexico. Good. That's really good. Chihuahua, excellent. We also have people from Central America, Colombia. Good. Very good. Thank you very much. It's good to know. Okay. Now, on screen, can you see my screen? I'm sharing a screen with you that says using the CLMS tools, and the hashtag we have for Cambridge University Press has globally set a hashtag for you to contact and to receive different source of information in many different ways, and it's supporting every teacher. So if you use Twitter or any other social network and you hashtag supporting every teacher, you will be a reference to the Cambridge University Press sessions and documents and resources that we have available to teachers. Federico will post it at different moments throughout the session. He will post them in the chat box so you don't miss any of this information. And later on, we would be sharing with you some resources that you might want to have access to as well. So that will come in time. Now, before we begin with the walkthrough, I'm going to send a poll. You would be able to vote online and to give us a little bit of information. And more than voting, you would be able to give us a little bit of input in terms of how you use, if you use the Cambridge LMS. It's a simple question, and the question is, are you a Cambridge University Press a product user? The answer might be yes, no, and or in what segments you use our products. So I'm launching the poll. You don't need to vote in the chat box. You can do it here in the poll. We're about to finish it in a few minutes, in a few seconds. Yeah, we would be able to have your answers. Okay, we can see some of your answers. Almost everybody has finished voting. That's fine. We see lots of primary here. That's really good. Okay, we'll close the voting in 10 seconds. All right, we're gonna finish the poll and results. I'm gonna show some of the results here. We can see that we have non-Cambridge University Press users. That's fine, yeah. We can clearly see that there are primary teachers, secondary, and adult course teachers. Okay, that is good. Let me tell you a little bit of what we will be doing in this session. We are aiming to give you a walkthrough on the different resources that you have in the platform. We're going to be using as a basis the platform we have for secondary and adult courses. Teachers from primary courses, don't get discouraged. We will give you some insights as well at some point. We would mainly show you the resources that we have available. Please follow the session. There will be lots of different ideas that you will be able to have. Those of you who are not teachers or users of Cambridge University Press, don't worry. We will also give you some insights on how you could approach the use of our platform at some point. So I think everybody will have some intakes from the session, hopefully. We will also at some point next week issue another session for primary resources for Cambridge University Press users. And with all this, we would be able to contribute so you feel more comfortable and better equipped to teach online and to deliver classes online to your students. Yep. So I think we will have something for everybody here. But this is the beginning of a series of work that we will have with you teachers in different settings. Thank you. So talking a little bit about the Cambridge LMS, perhaps even though you are users of Cambridge University Press products and course books, and thank you for doing that, not everybody might be familiar to how it works and what steps you need to log in into the platform. First of all, what is the Cambridge CLMS, or the Cambridge Learning Management System? Basically, it's a repository of content developed by Cambridge University Press that enables you to have access to content, materials, documents, activities, exercises to be worked on in an online setting. The idea in these sessions is that you have a clearer walkthrough on how to use the platform and how you would be able to use them, from registration to the use of some of the tools. Who can use it? Well, it is open to all users of Cambridge University Press materials, as I said. Yeah. If you are not a Cambridge University Press user, we will later on share some ways to access these materials so you can contact a representative from Cambridge University Press and have access to it. How do I log in? Well, basically you need a username. Basically, you need a username and a password, and you obtain a username and a password by registering here. You don't need to be a teacher from using any of the course books. You can still register. However, the access to content will be limited. So people who can access and people who are registered and have a password would be able to log in. The registration process is pretty simple. Federico, if you could share the site in the chat box for the Cambridge University Press Learning Management System, then people now, later you would be able to log into the platform. Okay. Can you hear me well? It says my connection is unstable. Federico, can you hear me well?
I can hear you well, Ricardo. It slows down a little bit, but
okay.
It's
Okay.
mostly good. I mean, yes, I've shared
Moving on.
the link.
Thank you. Moving on. Okay, thank you. So what can I do in the platform? Well, there are many things that you can do in the platform. Once you are a teacher and you have a class and you have your resources for different series, and your students are working on activities, there is a set of different possibilities for communication. The aspects that we will touch today relate more to how you can communicate, how you can exchange information, how you can work with your students from a distance, how you can keep track on your students' work as well. So for that matter, you have a series of devices. One of them is, for example, forums, announcements, there are blogs, and there is another series of tools you could use in there. You have a calendar, you have the possibility of using wikis and portfolios, and that promotes interaction with students and also from student to student in different ways. Yeah, you have also the possibility of having a message board where you can exchange information, and if students are connected at the same time, you would be able to keep chat box conversations with your students within a contained universe. Now, why am I mentioning this? Because the activities that take place in the Cambridge LMS are usually within this space. You can also give your students links to access different sites. That you can give your students links so they can go and check something in YouTube, and then they come back to the LMS and respond to whatever activity. We will see something about that in a few minutes. But what I want to mention here is this is a safe space for students when they are working inside the platform. Yeah, so I think that's also relevant in these times, because sometimes you might be using different open resources to have online teaching with your students, and sometimes those spaces are not necessarily safe for students. And by safe is because sometimes they have ads, sometimes they have a content that is inappropriate to the age group you are working with. So within the LMS, you have the certainty that the material and what happens and is contained in here is only for teaching learning purposes, and it serves that end. Okay, so that is one aspect I wanted to mention. So you have a set of tools there within the platform that would be useful for you to establish and to work with different communication with your students. Are we doing okay? Is there any question, any comment at the moment?
Yes,
Anything you would?
Ricardo.
Yes.
Sorry, just to mention, I've been asked about if this is the same platform for primary.
Okay, no, this is not the same platform for primary. As I mentioned earlier in the session, what we will be basing this session around is more on the secondary and adult courses. However, we would make reference to what's in the platform for the primary segment, and we will have another session later on at a different time. We will schedule that for primary course uses. Okay, anything else, Federico? Any other question?
Yes, just a question about why they don't have a wiki in their platform, and I was just about to tell them that it depends on the product they are using.
Right. Yeah, and it would be interesting if they can share with us which product they are using, because some of them don't have a wiki. They are not enabled. Uh, we will talk about that at a later moment in the session. Thank you. So I move on in here. You have access to different content. I'll show you in a few minutes the platform working itself, but this is a place where you and your students can share lots of things, and you students ways. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. I'm going to switch my screen so I can show you the Cambridge LMS, and you can work and you can take a look at some of the work that some students and teachers are exchanging in the platform. So bear with me for a second. This would take just a second, not too long, hopefully. Okay. Okay, can you please confirm if you can see the website of Cambridge University Press. Is it visible? Can you see that on my screen? This is the landing page for Cambridge University Press. Yes, thank you everyone. Okay, good. So as I said before, so this is how you log in. I have my username here and my password. Don't steal my password. It's 7 dots. Yep, that's my username. And once I log in, I can go to different places. I'm going to show you one class where you would be able to see what goes on screen. It may take a few seconds or a bit longer that it usually takes because of, well, we're using bandwidth. Everybody's using internet nowadays. Everybody's doing lots of different things, and well, that is why sometimes it slows down a little bit. I'm going to enhance my screen so you have better possibilities to see what we do in here. So I'm going to show you one class from a course. As I mentioned before, we have a number of different courses in the LMS and for many different products. There is also a series of courses for professional development. Discuss with your consultant or your local Cambridge University Press office, because we do have many series of professional development courses for teachers. We do have some online courses that are for free when they are related to some of the products. We also have some paid courses, interesting 20-hour courses, 2-hour courses, and many other ones. Okay, I'm just going to log in into a class where you would be able to see how we could use some of the tools that we have available. So this is the class. This is the dashboard. This is the class home. As I said before, you have the possibility of interacting with students in different ways. Yeah, I'm going to start with the section of announcements. We have a section where we can have communication with our students. We can tell them about, if your students are home now, if you're assigning some work to your students nowadays, and you want to keep everybody involved and you want to keep everybody communicated, well, you go to the announcement section, and in the announcement section, you should be able to create your own announcements for students. Yeah, we have here, well, this is the welcome class announcement to your students. As you can see, the username, the teacher can have the picture. That's a picture of me many years ago. Yeah, and this is an announcement to my students, and everybody receives this. How do I do that? Well, it's pretty simple. I'm just going to show you. This is a welcome note to my students, just to tell them that, hey, this is how we're going to be working. This is work that we will have, and you can set up some rules. You can set up some ideas in terms of telling your students about the weekdays that you expect them to work with the platform, the days you are available. Nowadays, it's a little bit of confusing time. So the moment you give your students certainty and clarity on what they would be doing, well, your role as the tutor and as the leader for the group would help students have that ease of mind, that certainty that although they are working from a distance now, they will still have the chance to continue their learning process. So how do you do that? Well, it's pretty simple. For those of you who are familiar to the platform, you go to the announcement section. It's here. I'm already there. Create a new announcement. Announcements is not just communications or instructions to students. Yeah, you can talk about many things, or you can send them different kinds of information to your students, and say like you can also reward your students, praise them for good work done in the platform. You can use this to share some thoughts and comments with your students. So say for example, quiz. You can also use it to not to threaten your students, but to let them know that there are some tasks that need to be carried out. Surprise quiz. By definition, a quiz stops being a quiz if it becomes surprise. Or if you tell them surprise quiz, then it stops being a surprise quiz. But let's keep it anyway. So this is to let you know, to inform you, or you can use the language you want to use. just make sure that you make it sound familiar and friendly to your students. Yeah, this is to inform you sounds too formal. Yeah, I know we all teachers have different aspects, but what we want to give our students is that familiarity, to give them the idea that you still have that classroom environment in class, this resource. So it's not just like this cold, impersonal space where you are just to communicate things to your students. No, when you go to your class, yeah, you if you tell your students that they're about to do something, or if you give your students some instructions, well, I don't think you would do this rigid military style in which you, or very uh, protocolary office speech in which you formally address to your students. So you have more of a casual conversation. Hi, everyone. And the good thing is that you can change font size, you can change colors, make it as, okay, I always tell teachers, don't go too flashy on this, but I think that's a matter of styles. Yep. And tomorrow, okay, if you're as dyslexic as I am, right, you can carefully check your spelling and how you write things. Good thing is that this is a text editor. I'm not going to write all the text message, yeah, so I'm just going to give you an idea of how you can do it. And a couple of important things. If this is something your students need to check and see before a specific time, well, you just go here and set up a time for this to be communicated to students. You can, it has some important features. You can add an attachment here, a file to your students in different formats. You can add them, I don't know, it could be a Word document, it could be a picture, it could be a PowerPoint, it could be a series of images, not too heavy. Yeah, if you see here, it doesn't really need to be very heavy. You can send them a link, and the most important part is that you send everybody an email notification. Hi everyone, just saying hi. Hi, have a good day. You can add pictures, you can add links if you want to your students, so you can edit this in many different ways. This is as if you were working with a Word document. And I'm just going to send it to students in this class. So I'm just saying this so they don't freak out and they don't panic. And they will receive an email notification saying there is an announcement for you. So that way your students won't miss any possibility of communication with you. And the good thing about this is that you can add an attachment. If you are asking them to about an exam that they will take online, or that there's a deadline, a homework, well, you can attach it here and send it over to your students. I just send it, yeah. I don't know if it happens to you. It happens to me all the time. Every time I send an announcement, I need to check it 2 or 3 times because, as I said before, I have some level of dyslexia, and at some point, when I send an announcement, students tell me, "Yes, I saw your announcement, and by the way, you misspell, I don't know, any word." It happens to me all the time. The good thing is that you can edit it, yeah, and then later on you can make believe nothing happened. So your students would receive that communication, and they will act in response to what you ask them to do. Now students in this class receive this, and well, this was just a hello, but this is what we do with this part of the resources that we have. Any question, any comment, Federico? Is there anything that we need to rephrase, to mention, to state, please?
No, once again, they're asking about the different, for example, for complete key, I was asked if you have announcements. Is there another way to have contact? Maybe they don't have the tools, but is there another way they can have contact with their students instead of the announcements? How can they get in touch with them? So basically,
Within the platform?
yes,
Is
that's
that the
correct.
question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all tools in the platform announcements. So whatever the series you are using, you should have the announcement section, but you still have other possibilities. And the other possibility is the calendar. In a calendar, you can set up specific activities and time framed activities for your students, yeah, in different ways, and you can include some sort of communication with your students in there. I will also show you other features. So this is also my birthday. It's always important that you tell your students, even if you are away from them, you can tell them, right, that it would take place at some point. Well, mine is not going to take place soon, sadly, right? But it's okay. But you can let them know. Let your students know about your birthday, please. It's important that they get to know it. Okay, so of course you won't ask them to send you presents, but just in case you forgot. Just in case. Now, of course not. I'm joking here, right? But you can set up activities such as a time for an exam, a due date for a delivery. If they are working with activities in the platform, yeah, with a set of activities, exercises, well, you can tell them when you will be opening or closing those activities to your students. You set up the priority. In this case, well, it's my birthday, so I'm going to set it into high priority. That kind of assignment that you have, if it's a special event, if it's a quiz, a conference, a meeting, etc. Frequency just want. If there's a website or if there is a specific place where you would meet, that's okay. You can place it here. Supporters can have that possibility of files, right? You can attach some files and send an email notification. And with that, you would be able to set up that event in your students' time. Now, if you want to communicate that to very specific students, well, you choose the students you want to send this message to, and there you go. Okay. Yeah. Is there any question, Federico?
Yes. There's also the question if it's how complicated it is to register students, because she had an experience with other platforms, and it's really complicated
Okay,
to.
all right, okay. Oh, this is not necessarily related to what we're talking about, but
Okay.
this is pretty simple. Yeah, and I'm gonna go through it. There is a process to include students and teachers and other teachers, and it's pretty simple. It's pretty inductive. I'm not sure where this question comes from, but what I can guarantee is that representatives from local offices are well aware that first-time users of the platform need additional support. So what I'm trying to communicate here is that the kind of support we give to our teachers and to students is you receive induction. There is online training for that. I'll show that at the end of the session. There are some tutorials on how to do it, and there is direct support from Cambridge in helping you set up your classes and set up and allow students to log in. Students can do this independently, autonomously, but in the end, what I want to communicate here is that you will have all the necessary support to set up your classes. And if you don't receive the necessary support, there are ways to communicate with other Cambridge agents. So the idea is that we can troubleshoot any situation that you would have. Okay, I hope this answers or partially answers the question, but in the end, what we want is to give you the certainty that the platform is really user-friendly and it allows you to work at different stages in an easy environment, easy to work on environment. But if there are any difficulties, all platforms present, especially at the beginning, when you become a new user, they present some potential problems. If there are any problems, there are many ways to solve and many people involved in giving solutions to clients. Okay.
Yes. There's another one that says that she only finds class home. The only tabs that she finds is class home, content, and gradebook. So I
Okay.
believe they might be in my learning. So they have to be careful where
That's a
they.
possibility. That's a
That's a possibility.
possibility. Yeah, that they are having uh, okay, I skipped that part. There are three different levels of users. It's administrators, teachers, and learners. In my teaching is where you would be able to see all the possible tools that would help you create that communication. In my learning, you won't have access to class tools because this is a tool for teachers to communicate with their students. So if they don't see that is because they would, as you said, Federico, this is probably my learning. I see
Mhm.
some people raising their hands. If you could, people who
And
are raising
yes,
their hands, if they can ask the questions
this
through the
applies.
chat box, that
If
would
this
be fine.
applies to class study, what can we do if the students have self-study modality? If you have self-study, you cannot monitor. That's what I replied because
Right.
it's
Yes.
uh, it's a self-study. And
Self-study is pretty much the same as if the student had the printed book in his hands, so you wouldn't be able to access any of these tools or to have any communication with that student unless this student is part of your class. So you have your class open, and once you are there, you would be able to use these class tools and communicate with the student and see the kind of work that they are doing. Okay. Anything else relevant to what we're doing? I would like to show another tool
yes,
as
the
part of
grade
this
book.
session.
I'm being asked about the grade book.
Okay, can we leave that question about a great book maybe to a later
Further ahead.
stage
Yes.
so we can move on a little bit here. Okay, so this is it for communication with students. Well, it's not it. There are some other tools. Once you have created your calendar event, you save and exit, and it will appear in your students' calendar. And once it is in there, your students will have that notification that there's an event going on and they would need to act accordingly. Um, in the next minutes that we have, I want to show you another tool. Tomorrow we will have the second part of the session for this. I will continue showing you some other tools that you would be able to work with the platform. So if you don't feel that there is enough information today, don't worry. Tomorrow we will have another session where we will continue with this. If you haven't received a link to confirm tomorrow's session or to announce another session, please contact the person who shared this link with you so you can have access to tomorrow's session. The other aspect I wanted to share with you is forums. And in forums, you can do many things with your students. It gives you different possibilities for you to work with your students through different instances. A forum, by definition, is a place where people would be able to exchange communication, to exchange ideas, to share topics. Some of them might be things they are in agreement with. They may have disagreements. If you go to any open forum on the internet or any place where the people have the possibility to send their opinion, you will see lots of confrontation. The idea here is not to have that confrontation. This is a teaching learning tool, and it's more used for collaborative work. And for collaborative work, you could have many different possibilities in here. For example, I opened up a forum topic asking participants to help us and to give us some insights on performance and on working line. Yeah. And it says, well, teaching English online. It says, hi everyone, listen to the recording and follow instructions. Then reply. Attached, you will find a picture of an ad. Remember I told you about me being dyslexic? Well, here, this is a place, right? This is a good example. And there's an audio. Let me just check if you would be able to hear this audio. Just a second. I stopped sharing. I'm going to share again. Give me just 1 second. Share computer sound. That's important. And sharing again. Can you see my screen? Please confirm. Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. Yes, Ricardo, good. We can see.
Good. Okay, so I'm going to play the audio. Let's hope it works well. If it doesn't work well, I tell you what it is about. Hello, everyone. Can you please upload a picture of your favorite vacation place and tell us why it is remarkable to you? Thank you. Okay. Did you get to hear that? The instruction, Federico?
Yes, Ricardo. Okay. We can
All right,
hear.
good. Thank you. So it's to upload a picture and tell us why it is remarkable to you. And here we have a person responding, sending a picture from Oaxaca. I don't know. Please tell me if you can see it.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, good. Thank you. So this student, okay, share that with us. Good. And here we go again. Oh, that's because
go to
yeah. There it is. Can you see my screen
yes.
again? All right, good. And here's the audio.
Hello, my favorite vacation place is Oaxaca. Oaxaca has a nice weather, beautiful places to visit, and the food is amazing.
We stop there because I'm hungry, right? And I really want to go and have some food from Oaxaca. Good. So and things like that. So this gives the student that possibility of exchanging communication with the teacher and with students. It can be about anything. It wasn't really hard to upload, yeah, and students are able to have this verbal communication with peers. Now, I think that's relevant in many ways. Number one is, if I record this, if I'm a student and I'm recording this, I can listen to it before I post it as many times as I want to. And that relates to one aspect that here in Cambridge we are working a lot on, which is creating safe speaking environments to your students. I'm sure that many of you, when you have your face-to-face class, you ask your students to give a short presentation about, I don't know, a remarkable place, their favorite place for vacation. And that is some natural to some students. Some students might feel comfortable doing it. Some students might feel comfortable stepping in front of a class, showing a couple of pictures and talking about their favorite place. They may be born to, perhaps they were born to be in front of people. They were born to be singers, rock stars, or teachers, and they feel natural and at ease. But to other students, that happens, just that situation is threatening. Threatening because it's a new language. It's a language they perhaps don't feel so confident about. They would be stepping in front of 20, 25, 30 potential bullies. I'm not saying they will bully him, but they might feel that pressure. I'm sure they don't have all the time in the world to talk about their favorite place. So maybe they have to do it in 1 minute or 2 minutes. Even though the teacher is there to help them and being supportive, well, sometimes there are time limitations. So the teacher might be very friendly saying, okay, Federico, yes, please, go on, go on, go on. And that adds a lot of pressure to students. So a safe speaking environment, an example of a safe speaking environment is this. You can give your students that certainty that they can use the language, they can feel more confident to use it, they can practice it. Practice is an important aspect of the learning of a language, the process of learning a language, and they will feel more confident about doing it. Some years ago, Cambridge had some research with some students who were constantly using these kind of tools for blended learning courses, for outside the class courses, and the possibility, and I can't remember exactly all the results, but one remarkable result mentioned that those students who had the chance to use this tool, this specific forum tool, had better language competency in terms of they felt more at ease and more confident when in a real life situation. So this is just food for thought. You may want to use it. It's pretty simple to create a forum. With your students to place pictures. You can ask your students to then share comments with other, or give a comment to one or two other posters here. You can also ask your students to give you some insights and to give some, you can get some feedback from students in here. So we have another here, it's Tulum. Tulum is a beautiful place in the Caribbean Sea in Mexico. Well, let's just hear.
Hello everyone, I'm sharing with you a picture of my favorite place to go on vacation. It is Tulum. Tulum is a magical place. It's very, very beautiful. So if you have a chance to go there, I really recommend this place.
And well, of course, these are advanced students. They feel very confident. They feel very comfortable with this, with the language. But think of your level 1 students. They may struggle, yes, but in the end, they are using the language. They are communicating. They are having those opportunities they may not have in the classroom. So,
Ricardo,
not everything. Yes.
Sorry, a direct question regarding this. I'm being asked if
Yes.
How long can the recordings be? It's 1 minute, right?
That's a very good question. Yes, it is 1 minute. Yeah. Sometimes teachers ask me if on 1 minute it's not enough. Well, let me tell you that this, for example, was 16-second recording, and there was a lot of information. And you can have 2 or 3 or 4 recordings, or you can have your students to post a recording twice a week, or they can share information in 2 or 3 recordings. 1 minute gives you enough opportunity to communicate, to express your ideas. I'm sure that sometimes if I ask you right now to open up your microphone and tell us about your family for 1 minute, well, after 30 seconds, 40 seconds, even if you are from the Borgias family, perhaps you wouldn't really have much to say or much to think about. So 1 minute, we think it's enough, but there's always a possibility of having more than 1 minute recordings. Sorry, or more than one recording that is for 1 minute. It could be 2 or 3 different recordings, depending on the length of time. I hope that answers the question. Okay. Any other question, any other comment, Federico, before we move on and recap a little bit? Probably not. That's very good. Okay. Let me just check here.
Sorry, can teachers upload audios in different formats? I was also telling them, yes. Well, could you please address that for
Yes, thanks. That's a very good question. Thank you. Yes, you can upload audios in different formats, and actually you could do other things relevant here. I'm going to show you in 2 steps how to, or 3 steps, how to create a forum, and I'll give you a demo on how to use it. So you go to class tools, you go to forums, then you go to new forum, and then you'd say, okay, family. You type it, right? It's here because it appears in my set of previously written forums. I add the forum, and then I need to add a topic. So that could be brothers and sisters. And from there, yes, you can add then a thread. Now that you have your topic, you have your brothers and sisters, and you add a thread, and the same chat box like document that we had might appear, and it says, I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters. I'm not going to write everything, yeah? And then I ask my students what I mean, I facilitate as a teacher here the possibility of giving different students, different responses to students. It depends on how I formulate the forum, the kind of answer and post that I will get from my students. If I tell them I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters, one lives here, another lives here, I don't have much contact with them, but we are a very happy family and I love them, etc. Now tell me about yours. First, you're modeling, and then you're asking your students to give you some insights about their family. If I ask them, do you have brothers and sisters, and that's it, the answer would be yes or no. So that's not communication. If you ask in the forum, how many brothers and sisters do you have? The answer can go from 0 to, depending on the parents, right? So 20, 15, 6, 7, 4, none. So that's not communication. So the quality on the answer would depend on the quality of the question. So before you post a question or a task in the forum, make sure the practice with yourself. Say, if I read this, what would I answer? And from that, you can get some insights for your students. So that is one thing. You can add here a document. You can add here a document in many different ways. Here you can even do it with audios. You can also do it with short clips. Yeah, very, very short clips, but that's a possibility as well. In tomorrow's session, we will explore a little bit more about how to insert this, or you can have a recorded a message to your students. So you just push here, it's recording now, yeah, and then when I stop it, it takes a while, yeah. I mean, it takes a few seconds depending on the length of the recording. Here it says maximum length of recording is 1 minute, but you can record at multiple times, as I mentioned it before. And once it's ready, it would be ready in a second or in a few seconds. Once it's ready, I will have that possibility of sharing the post with students. You should be able to hear now. Push here, it's recording now. Okay. Yeah, and then when I push here. So if it happens to you, as it happens to me, that every time I hear my recorded voice, I say, no, this is not really good, so I just delete it, and then I do it again. Of course, my voice won't change. That's the voice I have, right? But at least I can do it as many times as I want to until I feel a little bit more comfortable with my voice. So the same happens to students, or the same goes for students. If they don't feel confident with what they just recorded, they can delete it and record it again till they feel more comfortable. And that is the practice that would allow them to come up with something that's useful, that would give them confidence, that would help them become stronger in terms of using the language. One of the main barriers students show when communicating is that impossibility of exteriorize or externalize what they want to say. So this will help them a lot. We're getting close to the end of this first session. Are there any questions that we can perhaps answer now? As I mentioned before, this is the continuation of sorry, there will be a continuation on this session tomorrow at the same time through the same channels, and you would need to register for the session. But Federico, are there any questions in
no,
there?
basically about the primary material. I was telling them that we are going to have a session for primary, and it's basically that in complete, well, something specific about complete key, but I'm checking on that.
Okay.
About just to let them know, Ricardo, sorry,
yes.
just to let them know that as you were mentioning, if you're using the platform, if your books if you're using our books and you have a platform available, please let us know so we can through our sales representative or ourselves, the academic consultants, can visit you and help you with the process. I mean, it's very important for you to let us know if you have any problems, if you need additional training, additional sessions, let us know through your sales representatives.
Right. Thank you very much, Federico. Yes. Well, I'm just going to share one more thing before we leave. And here, we do have a series of documents that Cambridge has created for teachers in support, not only for these times. I think one of the benefits, as I said at the beginning of the session, one of the benefits of all this, although it doesn't seem that it's really good at times, is that you're gonna, after this comes over, right? After this is over, and it will be over. So once you're back in your classes, once you retake your role as teacher the way you used to be doing it, you will have a different set of skills. You will have a different visibility and vision on how good a teacher you are, what you would be leaving this situation empowered by different tools. So I think that's a benefit. So in order to help you do that, we have one research and resource paper from Cambridge that is called Blended Language Learning. The way you can download it and access it is through, well, please do me a favor. I'm going to share later on in tomorrow's session, I'm going to share a link with you. You can find it here as well. But tomorrow, in tomorrow's session, I will give you access to it in a direct form, just in case you have some problems on how to use it. So basically, this blended language learning module, it's a very short document, but it's really useful. It has some insights on how to go on a blended learning work with your students. It has some practical ideas, what considerations you may take in order to assign work online. You can find it here. If you have some problems accessing it, well, these are my contact details. Tomorrow, I will be sharing a link with you on how to obtain this and some other useful documents. So I really hope this was useful. This is just the tip of the iceberg. If we don't want to have these long, boring 2-hour sessions, we try to make 1-hour session. We will still be working with you, not only this week, next week, upcoming weeks, months, years, and centuries. And you need to feel or rest assured that you will have all our support and help any moment you need it. Thank you all for your participation, for your attendance. Thank you very much, Federico, for helping us filtering and controlling and being aware of the chat. We will share this recorded version of the session later on. So stay tuned and thank you all. See you tomorrow and see you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Have an excellent day. Thank you, Ricardo.
Thank you,
See you
Federico.
tomorrow.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.